Dave's back in town.
Oh man,
This is you're our first repeat guest. This is our first second appearance.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Like,
So obviously Dave's out here to film another course for the Academy. Oh my god! It's gonna be a brand. And by the way,
Shameless plug.
Plug.
Yeah,
I know.
right.
The Harmony, your first course is fantastic, and it's done really well so far, and people are really enjoying it.
Yeah.
If you're listening and you have any interest in getting into Harmony, Dave's an expert, and the course is really great. Harmony 101. It's out now. CornellMusicAcademy.com/Harmony. You can get it. I think there's a discount running around somewhere. I don't know. Check the main YouTube channel and you'll be able to find it. But yeah, so that's been great. Course came out great. So we said, why don't we do another one? So we just filmed. So the next course is an improv obstacle course, and that is not like, it literally is exactly that. And it
was hard. It was so hard.
Yeah.
To film.
I mean, it was crazy because like I've started thinking about, oh, yeah, you actually have to do the course yourself in order to demo it.
Yep.
Because every exercise has, like, your demo on it. And that, like, dude, it took... You said some of them you did 20 takes?
Some of them I did about 20 takes.
Oh, my God.
In order to really accurately do the obstacle correctly. Because some of them, like, you start with the obstacle, and then you're just kind of in the zone, and you start creating. But to limit yourself to just the challenge of the obstacle was hard.
Is there an obstacle that, like, you could give us an example of right now?
So, like one example was, like, first measure, picking a small interval to go up. So, like, going up a small amount. The next measure, go down a large amount. Then the next measure, do your own thing. And then, so following these patterns and sticking to that pattern for an entire tune is challenging.
It's like forced creativity. What it does is it stops
Right.
you from being able to rely on the things that you've developed as a musician. So, like, we all have
Right.
certain isms and certain, like, phrases that are sort of just stock that we pull out almost on autopilot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you give yourself these restrictions and these obstacles, it forces you to create in a completely different manner. You actually have to think through everything, and it's cool because it just opens up so many new possibilities and so many interesting creative options that you didn't even know you had.
That used to happen when I was practicing my guitar, and my guitar teacher would be like, okay, well, you can improv over this section of this backing track or whatever, but you have to use one string.
Yep.
Yeah.
That
Same
same
type
type
As
of
soon
thing.
as you restrict
Correct.
it, you're just like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And your brain thinks in different ways. It's really cool.
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's really funny because like even with my private students, I have this one kid. He's like an 8th grader, but like I'm really proud of him. Shout out to Jason. So he's like memorized like 4 or 5 forms, and he can solo, and he's got keyboard stuff, and he can keep the form with his left hand and like do a basic solo here. But like I've always told him that like, in order to get good, you need to find in order to sound free, you need to find you need to have restrictions, and within those restrictions, if you practice them enough, then you can get it back into your freeform playing, and it really affects what comes out, So yeah, so like an obstacle course shit really puts you in the zone to be like, oh fuck, here are my options.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, so I spent a bunch
Yeah.
of time coming up with the 30 challenges, but then actually doing them. Some of them were easier than others. Some were tricky. It took,
Yeah.
yeah. And it makes sense. I think it's a good pace because the dream is that you do a challenge a day. So I did all 30 in a day, basically, right?
Yeah,
so
it took us like 5 hours to record all 30 of them.
Yes.
And that was like,
Yeah.
whoo, that was a lot all
Yeah.
at once.
But that makes sense. If you're doing one challenge, you could spend an hour or two like really trying to master this challenge, and you move on to the next day. And so, or you could take a week and do that one challenge. Depending on where you're at, will determine how long each obstacle takes you. But yeah, it was fun. It was definitely fun, and you learn every nook and cranny of these tunes because you have to find ways to make the obstacle musical. So you have to dig deep into your creativity to make it work.
Right.
And I think it's such a great example too, because like, somebody who is a professional on your level and showing that like it took you this long and this many tries to get it right. I think it's a really great, demonstration of the fact that like there's not some magic thing like everybody's just if you're good enough you'll get it. Like no, you can. It takes work.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it's literally why it's an obstacle course.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's funny because like I find that with my own private students, like sometimes they're like, oh man, that was so cool what you did there. Like how are you thinking about this and how are you thinking about that? And like sometimes I think like they don't get it, where it's just like, yeah, you have to think and you have to work and you have to practice this. It's not just like it just comes out of my butt. You gotta work at.
Well, and then that's exactly what
Yeah.
the obstacle course is designed to stop you from doing, is pulling the things out that are just like the stock things that you have worked at. Like there are so many things, and a lot of it comes down to physical things too. So like playing the piano, for example, there's a lot of, literal
Muscle
hand
memory.
shapes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Because and
Yeah.
I talk about that a lot with like keys. Like every key has a shape on the
Mhm.
piano. It's like so many lines that I've worked out over time just from transcribing or from listening or for whatever have kind of ingrained those shapes into my hands. The muscle memory, like you're saying, that tactile memory can account for so many things that we wind up playing when we're improvising, and it's good things are good. That's fine, and everybody's got their phrases and the things that they say all the time. With speech, it's the exact same way. People
Yep,
people
same
have
thing.
phrases that they say, and you just like, oh yeah, Bob always says that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like a normal thing.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong with that, but
Hmm.
you can sometimes feel, and I often feel this way, like locked in to this thing that's just not. I don't know. I feel
In
a
music
lack
or
of
in
Well, what
speech?
it is
Music.
you're doing
Yeah,
something
well-
out of habit versus a choice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Yes,
and
right.
maybe the habit is good, so it works out, but it still means that you're not making a choice there. You're kind of just doing something by habit. And this obstacle course is going to help people get out of all those habits, because you can't rely on habits. You won't be able to survive the obstacles of this.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
right.
seriously. Yeah,
and
you
getting
can't-
back to thinking too, it's about thinking while you play.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to sit on one chord and do whatever you want, but having a set of chord, like a progression already, you have to start thinking about where am I at what point in the tune, and then adding these challenges. Now you have to do specific things in a certain order. So it's important, especially with like a play along kind of aspect, because this helps you think, so that when you join a real band, now you have these other obstacles of like, what is the drummer giving you, what is the pianist giving you, what is the bass player giving you, these other things. But you're already in this mindset of being able to think on the fly while you play.
Now, I have a
Right.
question for you guys as like jazz musicians who've played in a context like that quite a lot in your lives. Do you find that you get into almost a mental state of flow, as we call it, while you're on stage with people that maybe it's people you have to click with more, but like in people that you like the style of or whatever, so you're not too distracted, but do you feel like you're in a mental place that's almost like this meditative flow kind of place that's like pushing the boundaries of challenging yourself just enough, but
Right.
also
Well, for sure. For me, like the answer is yes, and like the way I achieve that is that like, okay, so first, so in jazz, everyone knows like a wheelhouse of tunes, just standards and other shit, right? And then from that, every musician is playing their stuff to those rules and harmonic confines. And within that, people have different ideologies how to approach a standard. You could be like, oh, I'm coming more from a Dixieland sort of thing, so let's color that like yellow, right? Or I'm coming from like more of like the Oregon blues hard bop things, let's call that blue. Or like I'm trying to put like the Destructo level McCoy stuff, and so we can call that green, right?
Destructo level McCoy
Dude,
stuff.
That's
You're
straight up.
getting super niche there.
no,
like,
no,
like
right? No, but that's what it is.
I mean, it is, yeah, but
yeah.
I bet half the people listening to this thing aren't going to know what that
Well,
means. But that's the best.
Well, go check
that's
out
that,
McCoy.
McCoy Tyner. Yeah, that's like the
yeah.
greatest description I think I've ever heard.
Hell yeah.
Destructo level
Yeah,
McCoy.
it's like heavy metal.
Dude, that's
jazz,
my
you know?
favorite shit. I mean, as
Oh,
far as
yeah.
jazz, is concerned, like maybe what you might consider to be straight ahead jazz.
Sure, yeah.
That kind of just rowdy raucous stuff has always been my favorite. Like Coltrane Love Supreme for me is, I mean, that to me has always been like pinnacle Coltrane.
Right.
Because I just love the chaos, but controlled chaos in a sense.
Yep.
Side
Of
note,
course.
really quick, before we continue, dude, the teeth got to come out. The teeth have got to come out.
Chip, yeah, and then you're saying, and then
No, wait.
Boy's got a lisp.
This is fucking hilarious, though. So, yeah, Amram has dentures. No, we're kidding.
not fucking
No,
dentures.
it's
Dylan, I'll answer your question in a second. Yeah.
No. So Amram is doing Invisalign. By the way, I tried to do it because I have one. Oh, dude, my fucking front tooth is so goddamn crooked.
Show it to the
and
camera.
it's so off on the front.
Uh-huh.
I literally one time I had the dentist do but they because that's all I can hear, so they got to come out for sure. But
Boink.
I went to the dentist once to do the mold thing, and it came back and they literally told me, yeah, it's probably not going to work. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because they said, oh yeah, we would have to either pull your entire teeth line out in order to make room for my giant ass buck tooth in the front, or they would have to I forget, like sand down, like narrow my teeth to fit them
to
in.
get it in.
Whoa. And I'm just like, oh my God, I don't know if I even want to bother. Yeah. And at this point in my life, I don't even know if I give a shit, really. I mean, I'm not trying to be fucking some Hollywood actor or something. So it's not, you know, it hasn't stopped me so far, I guess.
Yeah,
so, like,
I never noticed.
Really?
Yeah, I never noticed. Yeah.
Well, you're not looking hard.
Now I can't unsee it.
Now you can't unsee it. That's the only thing you're gonna see forever. One other thing, pull some slack out of that XLR because that's bothering me a little bit. No. Other way, because you've got it.
Bend the
arm up.
Oh, okay.
No, the end. Yeah, there you go. Okay. You got, because see how you're creating slack now. Yeah. It shouldn't be yanked tight on there because it's gonna cause a problem.
Look at all my slack, baby.
Hey, that's the most slack.
Dave's got the best slack.
Yes.
I like it.
Which was my mic originally, Dave.
So now that I've pointed that out, nobody's ever going to be able to see anything other than my buck tooth. So that's great.
Your viewers are like, oh my God,
I'm very happy. Yes.
Are you gonna tell us about yesterday's breakfast with the teeth?
With the oh my God! I forgot about the Amram lost his teeth.
So
wait, you lost your teeth?
So Invisalign, it's Smile Direct, but it's like Invisalign product. But
so you're using Smile Direct,
correct?
Okay,
and
it's
so
a different company.
they do a mold for your teeth, and they send you what is 12 different, sets to be changed out weekly or bi-weekly.
And they progress,
correct. Yeah. And so I'm having breakfast with these two, and the waitress, I put my teeth in like a napkins, and then I cover it so no one can see it, because like I know no one wants to see teeth, So anyways, so I forgot that I had them covered, and then the waitress is like, after we're done, she clears the table, and then she takes my teeth, which I failed to notice, and then I was just like, oh fuck, she took my teeth.
Like a few minutes later, he's like,
I'm just thinking, imagine like, because you almost got up and went up to like the kitchen, and hey, you took my teeth.
Well, which is hard because like I was actually thinking about that after we were done eating breakfast, because I was like, well, no one at the place speaks like, I mean, a few people speak well enough English, but like I was like, how would I explain to them like I'm missing like not dentures, things that correct my teeth.
You took my teeth,
right?
Yeah. But
they're
no,
all,
not my, like, they're like, what? You have all your teeth. You're like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
But they were long gone.
No. Because that shit goes, they take that into the kitchen right in the garbage. You would have had to root through everybody's half-eaten food.
So how close were you to the end of the cycle on those teeth?
I cycle out every Tuesday.
Oh, so okay, that's not
really
a big deal.
wasn't too bad.
Okay.
So like, so when I put these in, it really wasn't too hurtful.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay. Yeah, those are looking fresh.
Yeah, they're looking not gross.
They are looking significantly less gross than normal.
Yeah.
Do you like wash them?
You take a toothbrush and just kind of like get them out.
You have to brush your teeth and your other teeth.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I know, right?
No, I had my braces, I had like the same thing, but it had like metal wire in that. And I had to wear that like every night. And
Well, that's like a retainer, right?
It was a retainer, but it was the same exact thing as that.
Interesting.
So I had to get the toothbrush in there.
Yeah.
And sooner or later, it just like turned yellow because there was no replacements.
Right.
And I was just like, I think I'm gonna leave this one. Here
for sure.
And I didn't touch it anymore. And my teeth are fine.
Yeah.
They moved a little bit, but it's whatever.
The whole orthodontist thing. Did you ever do that?
Mm-hmm.
Really? You had braces?
I had braces when I was a junior in high school.
Fun.
Wow.
So
that's a tough time.
I got them off to go to college.
Oh my God.
Yeah, but and I didn't wear my retainer because it was college and I just didn't keep track. So my bottom two teeth like kind of cross in the front, but I had messed up teeth and they fixed them.
Yeah.
It was the worst time to have them.
Yeah, for
sucks.
sure. My brothers and I, like, we always, like, my older brother has messed up teeth. Like, we all have crooked teeth. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where like we never thought about it, and then before anybody ever would have considered it, it was kind of too late at that point, because it was like, well, I'm not gonna get braces in college.
I'm
whatever,
man. For braces.
I'm glad you saved the money, because it's just like so expensive. Also, like the time in my life when I had braces, and then you have a girlfriend, you're trying to like kiss and stuff,
Right.
and you're just like bleeding.
It gets really weird.
It sucks.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
yeah. And then you're like knocking braces. And
Yeah.
it's weird.
Ooh,
The worst-
did you get caught?
Locking
You
braces.
can.
Yeah,
You can.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
dude.
uncommon. Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
The
Right.
the worst was that like, okay, so like I also had braces prior to Invisalign. The reason why I got Invisalign was because like saxophonometers started like shaping and making my teeth weird because of the vibration of the mouthpiece. But anyway, so when I had braces, you would eat your food, right? And then you just have constant food stuck in between the spaces.
Yeah.
And it's just like it would just build up with all this like fucked up shit, and it's really
That almost
fucking
seems
gross.
counterproductive. Like
Well,
it's
yeah.
going to straighten your teeth, but you're going to end up with every cavity in the world.
Yeah, I don't.
Hey,
Well, you should
okay.
brush your teeth.
Here's an interesting. I got.
Yeah.
I don't know who's heard this story. I don't know if I've told any of you, but so I'm convinced that dentists generally. I look at the dentist as if there's a problem, that's who you go to fix it. But this bullshit about like, oh, go every 6 months and get x-rays and get all this stuff and pay us money and like, fuck that. That to me is such bullshit. And let me tell you why. So I hadn't, Leanne and I hadn't really been to the dentist in probably 2 or 3 years. And we didn't have any problems. Like, everything was fine and cool, right? But we're like, oh, maybe we should probably try to get established now that we're living here in Denver. And we went to, okay, so we go to the dentist, right? And they take x-rays. Now, it was a weird experience to begin with because the dentist, like, didn't know, like, the lady that was doing, I don't know what they're called, the equivalent of a nurse. I'm not sure what the dentist term is.
Dental nurse
Or something.
I was going to.
There's a term. I forget. I don't know what it is.
Dental
Yeah.
nurse.
But this lady, like the
Not
dentist,
hygienist? Is it dentist?
that might be
that's it,
some.
that's
That
it.
might be it.
Yeah, dental hygienist. Yeah.
The dentist didn't know who she was. Like
she didn't
Wait,
know
what?
who herself
the
was.
no. Oh my god.
Why am I here?
Who am I? Emron, we just got done saying. Oh my god. We just got done saying that the dentist's nurse is the hygienist.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the hygienist is
Yeah.
doing so. The dentist didn't know her.
Oh,
It was like
She just walked in and
no,
started
it was
doing
like
teeth.
oh, tell me your name again, as if it was her first day or some
Well,
shit.
the dentist has a sweet gig because the hygienist
Does
does the
all the
whole
work.
thing, and
All
at
the
the
work.
very end, the dentist
just comes in and looks.
Go, cool, you're cool.
Yeah.
Thanks
you
So
for
go,
coming.
okay,
man.
so this was the
Found
thing.
it. Peace.
This is the thing, right? They did these x-rays and they had to do the x-rays fucking like 8 times because they couldn't get it right. And I'm trying to, because the x-rays are annoying because you got to bite down
You
on
gotta
that
bite on
stupid
that,
fucking
yeah.
thing.
Right.
And like after probably the 5th time of trying to get the right picture and it not working, I'm just like, oh my God, please just make this work. Because neither of them appeared to know what they were doing. Okay, the x-rays come back. Fine, totally clean. Not a damn thing on them, right? This guy comes in and
dentist
tries,
or the
the dentist,
okay, yep.
and tries to tell me that I had 9 cavities that needed to be filled. The x-rays were totally clean. And he's like, yeah, so you see here, like, and he's kind of poking around. He's like, yeah, that's like, the start of a cavity. If you don't address that, it's gonna be not good, right? And yeah, so we should probably get this. I think it was they wanted to book me for like $800 worth of like dental work to fill 9 fucking cavities. Leanne went in, same thing, x-rays totally clean. They tried to tell her she has 7 cavities.
Yeah.
Okay, now here we are, fucking 3 years later. I haven't been back. 0 problems, no cavities. Go fuck yourself. I'm like,
I see.
what?
That's interesting.
How often is that happening?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's
Yeah.
why I'm like, listen, if I have a problem, like if I start having a toothache or if I know something's wrong,
Yeah.
I'll go to the dentist because they're the ones that can fix that. Fine.
Yeah.
But this shit about like, oh, let me just go every 6 months and get a cleaning. What the fuck is that about?
That's the same as like any other time of preventative medicine, right?
But preventative medicine to me is different. Now I know that
It
like
depends.
gum health is obviously important, but
Yeah.
like preventative medicine in terms of getting a physical, that's your internal organs in your body that you're trying to take care of, which to me is
Sure.
way different than your teeth. Like somebody can have a
Sure.
fucking root canal and it's gonna hurt, but it's not gonna affect their inner organs and their
How their
overall
heart
health.
function.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
a pain point.
Right.
And again, like I said, like I understand the gums are a massive filtration system and that's very important and I get that. But like all this shit about like, go every 6 months. I don't know. It's just
Well,
to
on
me.
that,
it just
so check it
doesn't-
out. So we have a really hip dentist, and I started going there because my wife goes there, and so my wife is meticulous with her like flossing and everything. So after every meal, all of that stuff, and so she gets to go once a year to the dentist, and I started going. And they put me on the every 6 months thing, and after like the third one, they're like, "Yeah, you're gonna have to come every 4 months." And I was like, "What?"
No.
And well, it turns out like when they would, because I wasn't flossing as ever, and then I guess I was rushing through like brushing my teeth or whatever, and so I started like brushing my teeth. I got one of those not mechanical toothbrushes, electric toothbrush. Yeah, I started doing that.
Mechanical. It's got like a 2-stroke engine. It's got like a fucking weed. It's got a weed whacker motor on it. Yeah.
I would love me a steampunk toothbrush.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So I started. So then I got upped back up to 6 months because I was like taking care of business, I guess.
See, I just don't buy that
That's
shit.
kind of hilarious.
Like, because did you ever have a problem? Did you have any issues? Like,
So I've had cavities.
Yeah.
And on that, so my dentist, the first cavity I did there, the guy was like, so do you want to use like Novocaine or whatever, like the numbing stuff, like the anesthesia stuff?
they gave you the option?
And I was like, option? Like, are you gonna drill? Like
what the
yeah.
fuck?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah. I mean, it's not that deep. We can get away with not doing it. I was like, whatever you think is best. So so I'm like, yeah. So I didn't do it, and it was definitely a lot more painful than
my
than
God.
he described. So then the next time, I definitely wanted it, right? And but my concern was I had a gig that evening, and I'm like, how long does this last, right? And he was like, it'll be done like in an hour. Like you'll start getting feeling back. And I was like, okay. So we did it, and the appointment was at 10 in the morning. So I'm like, cool. Like I'm done at 11. I should be feeling my face around noon. The gig's at 7, right?
Oh yeah.
So noon comes. I'm like, it's like and it's like strong. It was strong.
Oh my
I could
God.
slap my face and not feel a thing. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. It's getting to like 3, 4 o'clock, and I still can't feel.
no.
Well, also for people who don't know, you play sax.
I play saxophone,
So that's an issue.
I need my face.
Yeah. I need my face.
And I was like texting Cats. I was like, yo, I might need you to cover this gig for me. Like, I can't feel my face. But then like around 5 o'clock, I started to feel my face.
Oh my God.
Mm.
Talk
Dude,
about
that's whacked
Wow.
out.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
whacked out.
That's
yeah.
awful.
He probably accidentally gave you a bigger dose. He was like, "Oh, whoops. Well, you'll
man.
feel this tomorrow."
Yeah, right.
Like,
Man.
I can't
Jeez,
believe that
dude.
the first time though that was even an option.
That's
like,
what I
why
thought.
would that be?
That's
Why
weird.
would that?
He's got
even-
this drill. He's like, yeah, so do you want the stuff or not? I was
What
like,
the fuck?
You got this drill. And he's like, yeah, it's on the surface. You know, it shouldn't be too bad. And yeah, but you felt the whole thing.
Dude,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh my good
Yeah,
God.
Like,
that seems terrible.
numb
Nope.
me up.
Nope.
I don't
No.
care.
Yeah.
I don't give a
Holy shit.
Put me to
I-
sleep.
I
Whatever.
had I had 2 cavities when I was a kid,
Mm.
and that's the only time I've ever had dental work done.
Yeah.
The rest of the time, it's
Yeah.
always been.
In terms of dental work, I've had so with America, the you're off your parents
26.
26 for like medical insurance and stuff like that. So I had what do you call
Wisdom
these?
teeth.
Yeah, wisdom
Oh,
teeth.
Oh,
I
yes.
had my wisdom teeth
They
taken
were
out.
all
Yeah.
like they were like all like getting gunked up with like beef strands and stuff. It was like it was like
Oh, so your
rotting.
wisdom teeth came in properly.
Yeah, my wisdom teeth came in probably, but it was so far like hard to reach
couldn't
back
brush.
there that I couldn't like floss it out and like all this shit. So like beef and other forms of food.
I
was
love that
just
that's
stuck
the
there.
example.
So specific.
Beef strand.
I got
Well,
beef strings.
because sincerely,
Yeah,
beef.
the fibers.
Yeah,
beef
no, I
is
get
more
it.
Yes,
Stringy
yeah.
for
Any meat,
yeah,
yeah.
more so than like fish or something. So beef strands
Beef
were
strands.
my teeth, right? So
Wow.
And not eating beef was not an option, right?
What?
yeah, right, exactly.
Just stop.
Yeah. So I made sure I was like a month before my birthday, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get them all taken out. And so it's interesting when they put you to sleep, like they're like, okay, we're gonna put you to sleep now. Here's your anesthetic, and I'm like, oh, okay, and then like I space out, and then like
They did laughing gas, right?
I think so, yeah. And then what happened was that like fell asleep, and then like to me, it just felt like I just blinked my eyes
because that sounds like anesthesia.
Yeah.
I had a similar thing.
Oh, okay.
They put the mask on my face, and I was out.
I think they did a mix with me. So like I'd have my wisdom teeth out too.
Yeah.
And I remember having the thing on my face, but I also remember they had some kind of IV in.
Wow.
And so it was like and she was like, count backwards from 100, and I was like 99.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's like you're out.
Right.
And
you're out.
And then you're just like you wake up, and I was in a wheelchair heading out the door.
Because it made no sense. Like I closed my eyes and blinked my eyes, and they're like, "You're done." Yeah. And I'm like, I literally just blinked my eyes, which is so interesting because that made me think about like how when you're unconscious, how you experience time. Because like that, I did not experience time, but like somehow when I'm sleeping, you know that like
it's distorted.
Time is passing.
Yeah,
you know. But when you're like in the dentist chair, you have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's chemically induced.
Right.
I mean
you're
that's
like
quite. Yeah.
You might as well be like in some like cryogenic fucking sleep chamber or some shit. It was fucking nuts.
Freeze you up.
That's how they'll send us to Mars.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Put us in
Speaking of sleep,
cryo
I'm the opposite. So I am very involved in my sleep.
Really?
Wait.
That's a statement.
Like my wife used to freak out because when I had like a big project, like if I had to write a big paper or something like that, I would go to sleep. And she's like, "What are you doing? You have this big paper due." I'm like, "Yeah, trust me." And I would go to sleep, and then I would wake up, and during my sleep, I'm working on my paper.
Get the fuck out!
No.
What the fuck is that?
There's
Wait.
no, there's no fucking way.
I still do it to this day.
What is it?
Hold on. Yeah.
I don't understand though. Like, what are you doing in your sleep? Like,
I would write compositions. I would work on any sort of project.
Do you like lucid dream or some
like
shit?
VR mode or
I'm,
some shit?
that's what I mean. I'm very engaged in like
switch.
I could choose what I want to dream
You're
about.
conscious.
I could choose what I want to dream
So you
about and
lucid
navigate
dream.
my dream. I guess so.
Can you like
That's
fly?
amazing.
I
in your
had
dream? Can
some
you be
students
like,
that purchased. They're like, "Oh yeah, you have this kind of."
That's
thing.
crazy.
But so I would basically work on my paper and write it, and come up with all the drafts, and then when I'd wake up, I would have it and just write it out. And she was like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
on. Wait. Okay.
That's a superpower.
No. I need to know more about that. What the fuck? So like, okay, when did you even discover you could do this?
In high school.
And you would use it for schoolwork.
Well, yes. So
First, you use it.
it's
for,
combined with two things.
for other things in your dreams,
Yeah,
and then
Right.
and then
Yeah.
you're like, oh wait, I guess I should probably be productive.
Right.
Well, what started happening was I would get, if I got overwhelmed, which doesn't happen often, but when I would get overwhelmed, it would kind of just knock the life out of me. I would just kind of not go to sleep, and then I would think about the things I was overwhelmed about, and I'd wake up and kind of have the resolutions for all of those things, like instantly.
What the fuck?
Wait, okay,
Yeah, wow.
so my thought is that like if somebody was going to work out stuff like that in their dreams, they would probably like actively write down or think about what they want to think about in the dream before they go to sleep.
That's what I do.
And okay, so that's what you do. You like
I don't write it out, but I just like
right.
You're like, on the
okay,
pillow. I'm like,
you're
what
like,
am I gonna dream
You're
about?
like,
today?
what's the problem I need to solve, or what,
And obviously,
what girl am I gonna
like
think
normal
about?
dreams take place too, like things, crazy things, like how we normally dream
right,
happen too.
right.
But that's just when I go to sleep without a plan.
Yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
interesting.
Go to sleep without a plan.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
got to be
Yeah.
that's
Right.
brand new sentence.
You mean like everyone else?
r/brand new
Right.
sentence?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know
That's-
what, Dave? So like, fuck
Never
your
go to sleep
harmony
without a
course.
plan.
Like, teach me how to do that.
Yeah,
Sell
right.
that. Tell me, yeah.
Yeah, we need a
Well,
sleep
But
course.
apparently,
on
I
that.
mean, I guess what's it called? Lucid dreaming. I guess. It's a
Well,
thing.
okay. So what you're talking about, I'm not, because I don't know definition wise. So lucid dreaming is the idea that you can train yourself to be conscious in your dreams to the extent that you can do whatever you want. So like somebody who's lucid dreaming could just be like, I want to fly, and like they can just do it.
Yeah, and like I can take control of dreams that happen on their own, and I'm just like, I don't like where this is going. I'm gonna go this way, and kind of.
But can you
But I can-
consciously like step by step like walking through the world like in your dreams, or do you just kind of have
I
some
felt
input?
I could do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That's
that's
wild.
basically what I understand lucid dreaming
Okay.
to kind of.
I got to
be.
read into it. Yeah.
yeah,
It's just
definitely similar. Yeah,
I definitely didn't train. I just because I also wasn't aware that it's not a normal thing. So I just was like,
very much not normal.
no, not at all. When I fall off a cliff in my dream, I don't have a choice.
Yeah, when you're running and you can't run very fast and you feel like you're wading through the water.
Yeah, like
that's
I go
not
to
a choice.
I go to punch you, and I'm like,
But okay, so this is super fascinating. Why does everybody have the same dreams? Like,
well, we're all humans.
But I mean that
okay.
running, the slow running thing, like everybody's
Right.
had that dream.
Yeah,
and it's connected to some type of experience in life or something. But like, why is it?
I think it's because like you it's tied to like the base human natural fears and drives for something.
Yeah.
So like the fear of falling off a cliff, everyone has that dream because we are losing the control of power while falling, and so it's easily manifested in the aspect of falling.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like when people always talk about different things that happen in dreams, and then say, "Oh, well, if you're having this dream, it's usually connected to like this." Or another one that I have not had this one, but I've heard of a lot of people having this one is like the dirty public bathroom thing.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Like, apparently that's another common one where people will go, they'll find themselves in a public bathroom in a dream, but the bathroom is like they can't find anywhere to go because it's like everything's disgustingly dirty. And so it's this anxiety induced thing of like,
wow,
not being able
That
to
seems
find
like a
a
very
place.
2020 dream.
All the bathrooms are dirty. Fuck.
All you Gen Z people.
Yeah. No, but like dreams are
They're out of
fascinating.
organic groceries.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
No.
Fuck this. Fuck.
But yeah, it makes you wonder like, where do we go when we dream? You know what I mean?
No,
Like,
it's true.
But
though.
it's such a fascinating question. Like the idea that dreaming literally could be like a gateway into some other fucking dimension, bro.
Have you seen
Yeah.
Severance? That show on
Severance?
Apple TV?
No.
It's supposed to be about like they've separated their work life and their I think their nightlife.
Oh, I just heard about this the other day. Who was
And
talking about
so
this?
basically, like they go to work, and then when they're done with work, something happens where like they don't remember anything about work and can just enjoy their lives.
Whoa.
And then while they're at work, they don't remember anything about their personal lives, so they're not distracted by like relationships and whatever. And but there's some dreaming element to it as well.
That sounds like the work side would be just a miserable existence.
Yeah, but it's a
Right.
necessary evil, so they can get this like mundane, boring stuff done and just clock out and know that they're going to be able to enjoy.
But then you're in that zone.
Well,
You're like, whenever you're in the work zone, you live in this reality where you're like, there's nothing to look forward to.
It's kind of an allegory to reality, right? Like that's the whole point.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just
Well-
like, yes, we're fucking miserable for 8 or 9 hours,
Yeah.
and then we live our lives a bit.
Yeah, but that's
and it's
because
like two different things.
That's because so many. I mean, and watching, so Leanne obviously has like a corporate job, and
Yeah.
watching how that is constructed and the things that their company does, and I'm just like, what in the fuck? Like, I've never had a real job, and whatever, but like, it's just fascinating to me. I think there's a book about it called Bullshit Jobs, and it's kind of like lifting the veil on corporate America and how like the vast majority of jobs that are created and the vast majority of efficiency within those jobs is just absolute bullshit. Like it's completely inefficient, completely unnecessary. There's a huge percentage of jobs that straight up don't even need to exist.
Right.
But we have this
Right.
whole thing propped up on like, oh, jobs, like, but yet half the time they're not even doing anything. The amount of money that gets wasted in the corporate world by just paying people to just kind of not do very much. Like, I don't know, it's fascinating, and it's something that I don't really understand at all, just because I've never been in that world. But I much prefer the simpler, just like, oh, I need a person that can do this thing. Dylan, come do this thing.
Right.
Like,
Well, that's it. You're like, oh, here's a necessary thing that I need you to focus on. Please do this for me.
But it's got to be where a lot of the misery is derived in that world, because like if you are walking around at a job that you're getting paid for, it kind of almost doesn't matter, if you're getting paid decently for it. Like you're gonna be like, oh, I fucking hate being here because I have nothing to do and I have no drive and no purpose and no benefit. I mean, the idea of working in a situation where you have zero opportunity to benefit from doing well, that boggles my mind. That's why like I don't hire anybody, like you guys are not hired on the basis of like, oh, I pay you an X amount to do a job. It's like, no, it's like I pay you guys with the understanding that, hey, if this results in something good and we keep growing, everybody's going to grow. Everybody's going to make more money.
Of course.
Because why
Incentive.
the fuck, why would you guys give a shit?
No.
Even from the perspective of like being some of my best friends, like you're still going to just be like, oh yeah, like I work, and I have a job and it's cool.
Right.
And there's no way to viscerally give a shit about seeing this company grow and improve without there being something in it for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I look at the corporate world, I'm just like, it boggles. I don't understand.
Yeah.
I'm like, how does anybody feel any time? Because to me, I'm like, everything about every company would just be like, I don't give a fuck. And I think that's how probably a lot of people operate. Like they don't give a shit at all about the company they work for. Yeah. And that seems like a really
or
bad
even the job
thing.
they do. I mean, there are people that it's a necessary evil. It's a job that gets money for them, that puts food on the table, and they don't
benefits.
Enjoying the job isn't even on the table. That's not even like a concern.
Exactly. And then a lot of people feel like they don't even have the option to jump into something that maybe we've been lucky enough to find ourselves in.
Right.
They're just like, oh well, I can't even imagine how you would forge that path forward.
Sure.
So I'm just gonna like take the easy thing, go to this interview, work for Joe fucking Schmo, and make near minimum wage, and
which all that's amazing, like and completely understandable and totally fine. The thing is that there's still this corporate veil that like companies are trying to create, where they're like, we all love this company and we want to see, and it's like, no. Yeah. Don't get it fucking twisted. Like nobody's here because they give a shit about your fucking company. Yeah. Especially if it's that kind of situation where they're not offered any type of potential benefit from doing well. It's like, I don't know, because it's funny because I've watched the companies, a couple different companies that Leanne has worked for, and the things that they do in terms of like trying to this rah stuff and like making everybody like, we love like this thing and I don't know whatever the fuck it is, and it's just like, no, nobody gives a shit, and okay, if there's good, because if that's the thing, right, which that makes complete sense, people that they go to work for the salary, for the benefits, for the security, all that stuff, even though it's not necessarily any more secure than like what we're doing, but like anyways, but they go for that stuff and that's fine. So then the corporation should drop this like, I just wish people would just be real about it. It's like, listen, well, we need fucking data entry. There's no way around
I got something
it. Sorry.
Right.
So I have a student who he's really high up in Bell South Atlantic, which is like the big like internet provider down in the South. Yep. And so he's in charge of God knows how many people. And we were talking about this is when COVID was going on, about everybody working from home. And I was asking him like, what do you think about all this? And he's like, I love it. I'm actually going to shut down like all of my offices, because I'm finding, my people are at home and they're more productive and they're happier. And now, like, I was spending so much money on flights for people to like go travel and do like negotiations and stuff. Now that's happening through Zoom. And now I can like pay for like a first class flight for them to do like the final handshake deal and stuff. And for both parties and all of that. So he's like, I'm saving money. They're happier. And I just need them to do what they need to do at home. Like they don't need to come into the office for that.
So Leanne switched companies mid-pandemic, like before. So they left the office early on in the pandemic, and then spent, and by the time she left that job and moved on to another job, they still were not back in the office.
Yeah,
but this company was hell bent on getting back to the office.
Yeah,
because this company in particular was a company that pays well under market value. They don't pay very well at all. And they try to disguise that with culture. They're saying like, oh, we know we make, people who work here make less, but like they do it because working for this company is so great.
Got it. So
and like everything's fun, and we call our office the village. We call our CEO the mayor. Like what the fuck?
Dude.
Like weird shit, culty fucking shit that seems fun, and they try to create this environment where it's like, well, why would you leave?
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't leave. You're not going to get this anywhere else.
One of
and it's
us.
like eventually, especially with the remote thing, so the only way that they kept this veil up was the fact that people were in the office experiencing all these things that they were touting as being benefits of working for the company. But the second you left, so she moved to a company that is permanently fully remote, because they did the same thing. They were just like, this is fine. This is great. Like people are happy. Productivity is good. Profits are up. Everything's great. Cool. We'll keep it this way. And that's all anyone fucking wants.
Right.
And so the company that she left, it's like they now have to, and I've heard, because she still has a lot of friends that work there. And it's like, people are leaving in droves. Because now the veil's lifted. Right? Because if they're not in the, so they're hell bent on getting everyone back into the office, so they continue pushing this thing of like, we're not going to pay you market value for your work. No, we're just going to give you fucking a fun committee and parties and all this other shit that like nobody cares about, you know?
Yeah.
That was the beautiful thing about this whole thing, is that the veil kind of got lifted a lot, you know, because a lot of people were they went home and all of a sudden it was like, oh, that job that you said could never be done from home, guess what? Yeah, it can. It can be done from home, and probably done better and more efficiently and for less money. You know?
Yeah, for
it's
sure.
like, oh my God, you know? It's like we come here because, I don't know, it just, first of all, speaking for myself, and I might be that guy trying to create the culture.
Are you the mayor?
Are you the mayor?
Start calling
I don't know, but I fucking
Speaking as the mayor.
I know. But I like hanging out with you guys here. Like, to me, this is a place where it's just like we're, you know, we do our shit. But if Dylan told me, he's like, hey, I'm gonna be in fucking Sri Lanka for the next 4 months, and I'm just gonna work from there. I'm like, well, okay, that's fine by me. I don't give a shit. Yeah, because like
we'd have to work some systems around that. But yeah, I mean, like it's possible.
It's
possible. You know,
well, because like I mean, again, like the greatest thing is just that like. I mean, the reason why I love us is, I mean, this is the culture. No, is that like, it's just 4 dudes just being dudes, just talking about like, so what do you want to do?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, kind of,
yeah.
Right.
I think I saw some comment on the podcast the other day, just like dudes being dudes, kind of a thing.
Yeah, right.
Like,
it's just very straight ahead, because I mean, like the corporate stuff just looks like a pile of lies.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. And I mean, it's driven by a lot of societal factors and financial factors, and you know, a lot of like personal.
But a pile of
biases
lies. That's pretty accurate.
Like that,
I mean, it's basically it's a totally a veil. It's just people. It's just people being like, let's convince ours. Because you got to remember, half the time the people making the decisions, they've got people above them. It's like everybody's trying to just keep their job and make and you know look like they're performing well in their job.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It's crazy.
Speaking of,
it serves a place for certain people. Like, you know, not everybody's social animals and wants to hang out with other people.
100%, of course. Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. Totally.
Yeah.
I mean, to weave together all of this sort of like cognitive dissonance, work, life, fun, balance, all this stuff, I'm going to jump way back in the conversation for just a second, because I thought about it and then I never said it. But when you mentioned the thing about, who was it, McCoy?
Yeah.
The thing, and then you said that, McCoy, what is it?
Tyner.
Yeah. That's an interesting name.
I know.
You said something about his music or his playing being like on the edge of chaos.
Yes.
And it reminded me very much so of what we talked about the other day a bit about, or what we've said a few times when we've gone skiing, or the other day, just this past week, we went downhill mountain biking for the first time. You took me downhill mountain biking, and it was amazing. My hands are still broken. And but I wanted to mention that because it sort of reminded me of a lot of things in this conversation where, like, about the improv jazz and stuff like that. Like, what it does is it, like, rips you into the present, and you have to pay so much attention to what you're doing. And, like, that's what's so cool about it. And that was what, with the downhill mountain biking, that was so fucking awesome. And I wanted to bring that up to bring up the fact that it's fun, and that Dave just mentioned earlier that he's going to be doing it.
Yep.
Now, did you say that you've done it before?
I've never done it.
Okay.
But you've mountain biked before.
I've mountain biked before.
You've probably mountain biked more than you did. Because you haven't really mountain biked very much.
That was the first time I've ever done it.
Well, no, you've not. I'm downhill. I mean mountain biking in general.
Yeah, no, I don't.
You've never done that?
No,
Didn't
I've never
we go once?
gone into the mountains with like roots and rocks
Really?
and stuff.
Okay.
Like,
Wow,
I don't.
that's cool.
Did we?
But you
I'll
have.
probably fine then. Yeah.
I don't remember doing it.
He did really well, so you should be good
Yeah,
as well.
I used to do like flat track just through the woods, like trails.
Yeah.
And hopping over
I
roots
thought we
and
did
rocks
that
and stuff.
once, like in Glens Falls.
We might have, but I'm sure it was terrible.
Well-
Like I'm clipped in the woods. Like I use clips.
Oh, that's weird.
Oh,
I
that
don't
sounds
like that at all.
scary.
So I'm hopping over, so I can like just pick myself up over logs and stuff.
Clipped
Which
in?
you can do with
So, like, your
flats.
feet are
So
clipped to the
my feet are
pedals.
clipped into the pedals.
Oh.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
literally like
because it's flat.
yeah.
So I'm like you know I have to.
Do you
power
ride
up.
cages or clipless?
I do clipless.
Okay.
Mm.
I always thought it was funny. It's called clipless,
Yeah.
but it's like clipped in.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they're called
that was
clipless.
confusing. Yeah,
That's very strange.
I
What?
build a fixed gear bike, and those use clips because that's like the look for the fixed gear bikes. But then I have a road bike that has clipless, and
Yeah.
a mountain bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
and
interesting,
you set how easy it is to come out. So like if I'm gonna fall, like my leg naturally goes to a certain angle, and the clips know to kick me out.
It's like your DIN number on your binding
exactly.
skis.
Exactly.
I see.
Yeah. So like if there's enough like what would I guess it would be
Float,
like
they call
torque,
it?
Yeah.
like torsional force or whatever. It'll
They
come
pop
out.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I see.
bike clips do the same thing.
Yeah. So the road ones are like real because you want to be like really locked in to get
Yeah.
all the weight transfer in. But the mountain bike ones are way more forgiving because you're more likely to fall on a mountain bike than a road bike.
Right.
I
You
found
do
it
not want to be clipped in riding downhill.
No.
Oh my god.
Not at all.
No,
Oh
no.
my god, that'd be terrible.
Not when you get wrapped around a tree.
Yeah.
No. But you don't want to do that anyways. But
Yeah.
I found it funny that they have clips, like shoes with clips on them in like those cycling classes.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, do we really need this? Like, just
Well,
I think some people
so
don't
you-
like to be strapped. You know what I mean? Because the only other option is to strap in, right?
well, but like, are you really gonna fall off of it if you just?
No, it's not about
It's not about
falling
falling. It's
But, like-
about it's so the clips are about one foot is pushing down, the other's pulling up. So you're
So
getting
you
more
get-
out
It's
of
a
each
whole,
stroke.
yeah,
right,
it's like
that's
a
true,
whole
that's
other
true. Yeah.
ability,
especially
to,
for the workout. That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 Yeah, so you should be working both parts of your legs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
have you ever ridden spiked flats?
I have a BMX bike with like big flat pedals on them.
Does it have like the?
It has little nubs on them.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, it's
Yep.
the same type of
Because
deal.
you need traction
But
on those.
it's amazing though how much they lock you in. Like you were probably surprised at like how sturdy they are.
Yes,
And it's just little tiny metal nubs.
There was certain times where I'm like ripping through the forest and I'm like, I want to adjust my feet, but I can't.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
stuck.
Like it's
It's
just
hard.
there. And then
Yeah.
I noticed too, like when you actually start getting a little bit of air and like when you're actually trying to lift and everything, like a good way to sort of get a better handle on the bike is to almost push your feet in opposite directions, if you will, while the bike is coming up.
Oh, interesting.
Like
Okay.
I started to feel like I would push my right foot forward and my left foot back more
Yeah.
in order to hold on to the bike a bit more while I'm
Huh.
pulling up.
So I think from a technique perspective, the quote unquote right answer would be to use your toes down a little bit to kind of scoop. So you're almost like scooping the pedals with your toes down.
Right. Well, I guess that's what I'm doing with one of my
With
feet,
one of your yeah.
but not with the other one.
Correct. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just something that, you learn over time. But like, yeah, no, it's I think you'll do good. It's funny, like downhill, I'm obsessed with downhill.
You're obsessed with gravity.
Gravity. Yeah.
That's
Correct.
Gravity-related
yeah.
sports.
That's very true.
Yeah. Skiing and I am.
Gravity
And
sports.
I never grew up doing them because like it was always so funny because my mom was always like, your hands,
Yeah.
but like I played 3 varsity sports, but I never skied and I never, did any extreme sports. I never got into. And I think during that, like if I had really been like, no, I want to do this. Like I really want to, they probably would have let me, but it was just one of those things where like, it was just a combination of not having the interest at that time in my life. And then also there being such a concern about like hands and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which I realize now is like completely pointless because if I'm going to hurt something biking or skiing, it's probably not going to be fingers.
Yeah.
It could be. It's very possible, but
Yeah.
like it's most
Yeah,
likely going to be a leg or something,
Right,
something more serious. But yeah, that was always, I don't know. Was that ever a thing like for you or I guess any of you with like, because being all musicians, was that ever, don't do this because it's going to potentially
I never got it
harm
from my
something?
folks, but
Yeah.
like when I started riding like my Vespa scooter and then when I had a motorcycle, I always wear full face, just because I feel I need my jaw.
That's
Where
helpful.
Like I don't ride like the 3/4 or the half helmets and stuff.
Right.
Even though I could.
Yeah.
I always ride full face because I like
Right.
being alive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
So in regards to that, so the like, oh, you're a musician, so be careful, right? So like one like, which is not really that serious, but like not like tricks myself into it, but like I got like special earplugs with like, and you get like a sound test, and so like that's fine. But like the other story was actually and this, I actually told you this story last night, but so like, okay, I play the saxophone, so you gotta blow air, right? So I'm like, oh yeah. So
Yes, you do.
yeah. So like, okay, so smoking was like no, like even in my head, I was just like, oh, we're not gonna smoke, and like the DARE program, if anyone remembers that.
Oh my gosh. yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so for whatever reason, I forget how, but I think I was in my sister's room and I found an empty box of cigarettes, completely empty, just nothing in them. And then I was like, for whatever reason, I was like, let me smell the box, because like I don't even know what it smells like. You know, like I know what I know what tobacco
In your
smoke
sister's
smells
room.
like. Yeah. So empty box of cigarettes, and then like I smelled the box, and then like I caused myself to have like a small like panic attack where I was just like, oh no, now my lungs are so fucked. You know? Oh my god, right. Completely empty, and so
that's like when a kid
Yeah.
when you kiss a girl and you're like, oh my god, she's gonna get pregnant now.
Exactly. So it was just so, and like looking back at it, I was just like, I am so stupid. Like there is no, like nothing was lit. There wasn't even the cigarette in there. It was just the
Oh my
box.
God.
But somehow like the box contained the evil, you know?
Yes.
That,
Yeah,
that
right,
is,
right.
like,
You don't know, you don't
yeah.
understand that it's the smoke. You're just
yeah.
like
Right, you're
anything
just-
involving.
Anything with
Right.
Yeah.
associated, you're just like, that's what it is. Because I mean, again, because like the DARE program was like very like, they're like, don't do fucking marijuana, don't like smoke cigarettes, you know, like that shit, like, and like they have like a diagram of like, this is like your lungs when it's normal, it's like nice and pink, and this one's like fucking like
This is your
black.
drugs.
Yeah,
all you know?
And so I was like, wow, I don't want that.
They brought in the lungs. Did
Yeah.
they bring in the lungs from the smoker versus the non-smoker?
Yeah,
We did
yeah.
that shit.
Yep.
And then they make
photos.
you
Yeah.
breathe through a straw, and they're like,
Yeah.
this is what it'll be like if you ever smoke ever.
right,
Legit.
Yeah.
That was enough to terrify me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was awful.
Or
Yeah,
like-
I never had an interest in smoking
No.
for some reason.
I had an uncle who had the microphone.
Oh, that'll do it.
Oh.
Yeah,
Holy
so
shit.
That would terrify me.
early
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
And then my
man.
dad was a smoker, and I used to hide his cigarettes all the time.
Really?
And he
Oh,
was
wow.
so mad and go out and buy some more. And
Taking matters into your
But
own
probably
hands.
it fucked with him though. You know what I mean? Like I
What do
can
you mean?
like imagine being a dad and your kid hides your cigarettes.
Oh,
Right,
like psychologically,
like that's gotta
Like, you
fuck
gotta
my
think like,
child
oh,
is-
wow.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
he never really quit. He still
he still smokes?
yeah, he still smokes.
Wow.
He's had
And-
little stints of not doing it, but I mean,
Is he in good health?
Yes, besides that, he's in good health.
Yeah.
Although he had a stent put in because he had like an almost heart attack.
Jesus
Yeah, and he had a 90% blockage. And
How old is he?
He's 63.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Jeez, that's young.
Yeah,
So-
no, he got
That's
it when he
young.
was 44. Something like
Wow.
that. Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
So do you still
Don't
hide
smoke,
cigarettes?
kids.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, I gave up on hiding his cigarettes.
Yeah. You'd have to.
But
Yeah.
the kind of similar thing was I'm back from college. My first I started in the fall at Purchase, and I'm maybe the month in of school or something, and I'm back home visiting my folks, and they had I want to say trout, maybe, yeah, I want to say it was trout. That they baked some trout, and so we're eating, and I'm chewing like crazy, and my dad's like, why do you eat like that? Like, why are you chewing so much? I'm like, I don't want to die. He's like, what are you talking about? And I told him when I was a kid, he used to tell me that if I didn't chew my fish completely, that I would get even the smallest fish bone could lodge in my throat and I would die.
Oh my god.
And I just kept that all the way through college.
Oh my god.
And and then he told me, he's like, no, you're not gonna die.
You're like 20
20 years later, your dad's like,
chomping
oh,
down
shit.
on some fish, being like, "Fuck, this tastes good, but I'm scared." Oh shit.
Oh, that's the thing, because I love seafood. So I would like roll the dice every time.
right,
like,
right.
you want to go out for seafood?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
That's some
Wow,
shit
man.
that your parents said
Yeah.
to you that they totally did not expect the consequences 20
Right.
years down
Yeah,
the
it
line.
comes
We're
out
gonna be
Right,
like,
right.
oh my god, my 22-year-old son thinks that fish is gonna kill him. Oh shit.
Everybody's parents fucks them up somehow.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, my mom never noticed that I had like a nut allergy. So she would get, so she would have me.
Funny, every time he eats a peanut butter sandwich, he can't breathe. I don't know what it is.
So my mom used to get these bags of sun-kissed pistachios, and we would watch movies together.
yeah.
And like little by little, I'd be like, getting itchy and
Oh my
breaking out,
God.
and she would never
Wow.
notice.
Do you have like a super mild nut allergy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Okay,
I eat peanuts and cashews and all that stuff.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You're just
but-
like, I'll fucking deal with it.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
yeah.
Like, your mom's just like, oh, you shouldn't have played in that poison ivy today.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, that's really weird that you're so itchy again.
Oh, that was one for me. I thought that poison ivy was like number one, way more common, and number two, way more dangerous than it actually is.
yeah.
I was like, I would look
For me, it's rough. Like, I like.
Well, I've never gotten it, so I
Yeah.
don't know. But like, because I grew up on fucking 140 acres, and so like
Yeah.
we
And
running.
you never
like,
got it. Wow.
Yeah, no. There was
Poison
one.
ivy's trying to take over my house.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What?
I have trees. I have probably 4 huge trees
it's,
that
like,
are
running
dead
up?
because of the poison ivy.
Wow.
It's
Whoa.
like choking it. Yeah.
Wow.
You gotta be able to spray for that or something.
Yeah, I got to go out there, and
Yeah.
it's just one of the million things I have to
But like
do.
hiking
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the woods for so many years, like just way out in the in the
Yeah.
back of my house and shit, like never
Wow.
got into it. But I thought, and that's because I thought everything. I was like, I gotta be super careful.
Yeah.
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 You know, anything that had 3 leaves, I'd be like, oh fuck.
Yeah, you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
poison ivy.
Yeah.
You know, okay, so speaking also about like
Yes.
childhood traumas or other things that you think was a big fucking deal, right? So like there are 2 things in my head that like really got me going. And so like I thought like quicksand was like gonna be a big fucking deal in my life. You know?
You're gonna have to walk around in your life looking for quicksand. Oh
Yeah.
shit!
Right. So like,
It's everywhere.
like you'd read books about it and you're like, holy shit, there's just like invisible fucking soil that like if you step in, like it sucks you up and you're gonna like fucking die and you can't like and it's just and like you're just gone. You're
That's
just,
it.
That's
Yep.
that's the end of your
So you,
fucking
like,
You always
life.
carry around a rope or something.
Yeah, right. Or just like,
tiptoe around all over the place. Like,
carabiner just in case, you know.
yeah, take
Yeah.
a couple of pats with your foot. Make sure the soil is
This shit
stable.
okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So it was that, and then also the Bermuda Triangle, because like again,
Oh,
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
you'd
yeah.
see like lots of like Discovery Channel things about the Bermuda
You're
Triangle.
like, I'm never fucking
yeah,
going
you're
to
like,
Bermuda.
I'm never fucking going there. And so like
Yeah.
I remember, so I have family in Florida, right? And I know that they had moved there, and like this was my first time on a plane, and like I was like 11 or 12, and so I I remember asking my sister like tapping her on the shoulder, and I'm like, are we gonna be like near the Bermuda Triangle? Yeah, dude, I was just so freaked out because
Dude.
I don't know. You just
No,
think,
I had the
yeah.
same thought when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was the same thing. I flew to Florida, and
Yeah.
I was just like, "Oh my god,
God.
where's Bermuda?"
Yeah, I
So
remember
many-
thinking the
It's gonna
Bermuda
get me.
Triangle was going to be a way bigger deal in
Right,
life than
right.
Yeah.
than it is.
Have you
Yeah.
ever been?
to Bermuda?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I've been to Bermuda. It's pretty interesting.
And then
It's I made it back.
okay, you made it. Yeah,
You're here in the flesh?
I got there,
Yeah.
back, no problem.
Proof.
Yeah.
Proof. Dance with the devil for sure. Oh my God, Dave, you're
Jeez.
gutsy. This guy.
Dang man.
Well, it was a gig with the band I was in. It was like, yeah, we got this gig in Bermuda, you know, and I just it was like great. I didn't think about I didn't grow up with a fear of the Bermuda Triangle though, but it's interesting. They have these really tiny roads, so it's just tiny cars there, and there's no buses or mass transit or anything like that, and it's very expensive. Everything's very very expensive.
Well, they figured out a bunch of Floridians and New Yorkers want to just vacation there.
There's a lot of expats from the
Yeah.
UK.
Oh yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
this what Vinny said, right? Because didn't he go to Bermuda?
I think he said the Bahamas.
Oh,
He was saying
Bahamas.
Bahamas are like
Oh, yeah.
Right,
$60
but anyway, so it's
sunscreen.
tropical islands or like they
Yeah.
fuck you over. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they just had a terrible experience there. Vinny was supposed to be here today, but he's unfortunately dealing with an ear problem that was bothering him. So we hope he recovers very quickly. And Tom just got married.
Yeah.
Tom's on his way to Hawaii right now.
Oh,
It's
right.
honeymoon.
And
This
you were
guy.
there.
I was there. Yeah. That was it was great. It was great. It was a nice day, beautiful day, and in the Denver Botanic Gardens. How do you say? Is it botanic?
I think
Botanical.
Well, yes, but that's not a. I don't think the Denver one is botanical.
Botanical.
So
That's
it
what
could be
I would
botanic,
normally say.
yeah.
Botanic. I don't know. That's a botanic. There you
Botanic.
go. Yeah. No.
Botanic.
Beautiful spot. Beautiful place. It was great. It was very nice. And so he's on his way to Hawaii. That motherfucker. I've never been. Have you guys ever been to
I've
Hawaii?
never been to Hawaii.
No.
Nobody's
No,
been to
not.
Hawaii at
No.
this table. Wow.
Need to.
Yeah.
Wow, I would love to go. It looks
dude.
incredible. I'm very much interested in places where there's like the ocean. But so, for example, like I love Colorado because of the mountains, you know. And the problem with like Florida or some is that you get the ocean, but the geography is incredibly boring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. And I suppose California is sort of closer to,
It's better.
you know, because you do have the ocean and then the mountains. But
Yeah.
Hawaii seems like one of those places where the mountains just come right up to the shore.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I want to
Heck yeah.
go places like that.
Mhm.
I haven't traveled very much. Because honestly, like before the pandemic, I mean, the pandemic started kind of right around almost like when I started YouTube. And so before that point, I was broke as shit. Like we never went
Yeah,
anywhere.
yeah.
You've never been anywhere because
Yeah.
you know, Leanne and I just we didn't have the money to go anywhere.
We're gonna
so.
take a trip to Japan, man. Go skiing in Japan.
Yeah, this motherfucker. He
Yeah.
just goes
That's
and
what we're
lives in
gonna
Japan.
do.
He's lived in Japan since graduating college, longer than he's lived in the U.S.
Wow.
Yeah.
3 separate times too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's wild. That's a lot of moving. I think I've moved a lot. Like, we moved to Denver 3 years ago, and in that time, we've moved 4 times.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God, it's so crazy. And I moved across town. This motherfucker's moving continents like every other year.
It's expensive, and I don't want to do it as often as I've done it. And yeah.
What do you bring with you? If you're going to move literally to the other side of the fucking planet, like, what do you bring?
I've done it before with just one bag.
How?
Well, because I didn't have anything. I was like, oh, I want to be a minimalist and I want to own nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So you just sell the big things that you own and just take a backpack full, basically, or a duffel bag. And then other times I've had like one big suitcase and a backpack or something like that. But now I'm just starting to get to that place where I'm like, I want to be here, chill the fuck out, like buy some things. Yeah. You know, like, because I would always live in a place like you've seen like my apartment, like when we lived in Decatur, like it was just like a cave.
Oh my God.
With like a mattress on the floor.
Oh my God.
And like an IKEA desk and nothing else.
These fucking guys. So Jake and Dylan live together and in multiple different places now. And like, they had this apartment the first, when we all first moved to Denver, and it was a 1-bedroom apartment with a living room. So they just like made the bedroom one and the living room the other. And I would walk in there and it was like they never moved in. They didn't have anything.
It's like the first day we got there.
Jake slept on a fucking air mattress for a year. like just an air mattress in the corner that was half fucking deflated. Yep. And just, I'm like, how do you, because I don't know, maybe, to a perhaps an unreasonable degree, but I'm very much about creature comforts. I like having a nice bed and just having being all set up, like lighting. That's like I gotta have lights.
Oh my God,
it's gotta be just right.
You hate ceiling lights.
I fucking hate ceiling lights. That is something I specifically hate. Ceiling to me, and it's because the energy that they bring into a room for me is just like so fucking awful.
I feel the same way.
If somebody, like your place, you would just turn on your kitchen light, and I'm like, no.
Oh, yeah, that one, yeah.
No, that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I put all those light changing bulbs at least, so that I can at least change the temperature.
Yeah, that's a start. Yeah, but just
I'm like, honey, this is so much better. She's like, I've noticed no difference. I'm like, I'm not being interrogated anymore.
Yeah, that's it. It feels like a cold, dark interrogation room, and then it's just like, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Lighting to me is like
you
the
go
most
beyond that. I would love to take the time to do that in my place, like all the shelves and like.
Leanna's
she's made your place look pretty nice.
Yeah, she's done so much work on that place and just kind of made it feel like a home. Because I'll do some stuff. I'll do like lighting and stuff like that, but she does all the little trinkets and things, things that I just don't even think about.
Little like candles that are just electric.
Yeah, right. Yeah, she has got these rechargeable fake candles that she'll just put everywhere, and like you don't even notice it until she does it, and then you're like, oh wow, this feels like a place. But I would walk into their place, and this motherfucker's in the corner on an air mattress with a fold up table and no chair.
Wow.
Like, and that was just his place. Yeah. And I'm like, how do you live like this?
Well, now it's all in the past.
Now it's all in the past. Yeah. Now you've got a good. Now Jake's place is gorgeous.
It's actually great.
It's great.
Really,
I mean, it's
really
it's like a tiny little box, but like he's got it set up really nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah, he's got a great bed and everything. Not that I know or anything like that.
I've tried it out a few times.
Yeah, no. And then your place is dope too. Like, you've got a great spot now.
I like it a lot. Yeah. No, it's quite nice.
Oh, you guys.
Oh, we're growing up.
Growing up in life, making the next steps in life. What? So, job wise, what kind of, like, did you ever had a real job? Quote
real
unquote?
Job. Never had a real job.
Yeah, like corporate anything, right?
Well,
but you had jobs as a kid. Though,
yeah, my first job was a busboy. I was a busboy at a restaurant, and loved it.
Fun.
I loved it. And then I was a waiter quickly. So I started working when I was 14, and then I became a waiter when I was 15. And I would work all Saturday night and all day Sunday. So all day Sunday was 10 in the morning to 2 in the morning on Monday.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
Whoa.
Wow. Yeah. So because the way this place worked was there was just one waiter.
90s?
This is in the 90s.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when they would let you.
Well, no, I wasn't allowed. But it's the restaurant business, so
so
I was all cash and everything, and so I was making like $400 a weekend just working those 2 days, and I was a sophomore in high school. So that's how I saved up for my car, my saxophone.
Yeah.
I did all that. And then the restaurant, I would have been there forever. I loved it. I was the mayor's waiter every Sunday, and I just loved the whole environment and the concept of like the harder you work, the more money you make in the restaurant business. I love that concept.
Right.
So I busted my ass, and that's why I made that much money. And there were same waiters that didn't work as hard, and they made half as much.
This was where?
This was in Connecticut.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then the owner of the restaurant and the son of the landlord didn't get along, and the landlord died. So the son took over the building and just didn't offer this guy a renewal. That's how much he hated this guy.
Wow.
So the restaurant closed. So I had to, I lost my job. So then I worked at a place called the Silvermine Tavern, which is now called Gray Barns. It was this like bed and breakfast that the owners were friends with all the guys from the Village Vanguard band.
Oh.
So they would hire like people like Dick Oates and Scott Wenholt to like play trio or quartet or something, and it was a great restaurant, and they were famous for their brunch and stuff. So I went there thinking it was the same restaurant business, but they wouldn't hire me as a waiter because that was more upscale. So they hired me as a host, and that was totally different. So I just got paid like a flat rate, and then it was like very political with all the waiters because basically you determined who made money that night because you'd pick like when people come in, you seat them in certain areas, and certain waiters have certain areas. So if you liked certain waiters, you'd seat all the hip people over there. People that look jive, you'd send them to this other person, and so it was like it got political. So I didn't enjoy that. So then I got a job at the Gap. So I worked at the Gap, and I was making $7 an hour at the Gap, and they sussed out right away that I was like very with it. So I was hired as a stock person. So the stock day would, they have like a meeting when your shift started and be like, okay, the three of you're going to put, sensors in all the clothes. Dave, come with me. And I would like redo walls and like, redesign the store and stuff. So at a certain point I was like, hey, like I don't mind doing this. It's more fun than just putting sensors in, but I should get paid more money than these guys. And she's like, well, the best I could do is 25 cents an hour. So just on principle, I quit.
Wow.
Just on principle.
Yeah.
I was like, no. So I left, and so next thing I know is I'm window shopping at a Banana Republic across the street, and I didn't know that they were the same company. They all knew each other, and at the Gap that I worked, I actually got this award for like best stock person, and so they heard about me apparently at this Banana Republic, and I was just window shopping with some friends, and the manager recognized me, and we started talking, and she's like, oh, like how's the Gap going? I'm like, oh, I'm not there anymore, and she's like, oh, do you want a job? And I'm like, no, I'm kind of done with retail, and she's like, well, we'll pay you $2 an hour more than you were making over there. So I was like, great, when do I start? So now I'm making $9 an hour at Banana, and I love that job. So that job, I have a really great memory, and the stock room was above the store, so you had to go. There's this door, and when you open the door, this loud buzzer went like nah, and then you go this flight of stairs, and then the stock room was there. And what I would do, I quickly kind of suss out the situation with the other stock people. I would go through as soon as my shift started and memorize what we had, like style numbers, and they would call in style numbers. So style number is like a 7-digit code, I think, and like the first 2 digits is like what it is, like if it's a top or a bottom or a jacket or whatever. The next 2 is what season. The next 2 is like the color, and the last one's a size. So I would just quickly go through and memorize everything we had, and they would call up saying, hey, do we have, they give me the style number, and I would just say no right out of the gate, and they're like, did you even look? I'm like, look, we have it in this color and this size, but not whatever you're looking for. And the stock guys eyes were like, oh my God, you're amazing. So I told the guys, I was like, listen, we have an 8-hour shift, right? Let's work for an hour, do what they need us to do. Let's just bang it out, and then let's like play cards and whatever. I'll take care of all the sensors, like all the like style number stuff. Yeah. So they were in. So we would like bust our hump for an hour, and then I timed like that door opening to the stock room was a 35-second walk. So I knew that whenever if someone was coming to check in on us, I'd be like, guys, we got 30 seconds to like look busy. So we would like grab a pile of clothes and like go to the table and start, looking like we were working.
That's
and they
brilliant.
loved me there. It was great. And then I love like the way the retail thing works with seasons is that like in the winter, like when you need a cold like insulating jacket, they're selling like summer stuff already. Like they're just like ahead. So they had this policy. It was you got 50% off current things, but then you got 80% off sale. So we would save all the stuff we wanted, and we had this little nook that we kept our stuff and wait for it to go on sale. and then get 80% off of it, and
Whoa.
like all our favorite sizes and stuff. So I still have stuff from that era. Like I have shirts and suits and stuff that I got for like a fraction of the cost.
Oh my God.
That's
Dude.
From all of that. But I left that because they wanted me to work on my graduation. So I'm like, hey, like I have graduation. Like I can't find anybody to cover me, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna have to come into work. I'm like, but I'm graduating, and they're like, no, that's your problem. I'm like, no, it's your problem. I'm out. So I quit. And then college happened, and then I worked at the Performing Arts Center. I did a million things there, and then started playing professionally. And then, I've done some copy work jobs for different composers, but not like officially, like just as favors. Like, it started with Steve Wilson. I started studying with him at the college, and he had all these handwritten ugly things that he would bring in. They're really great, but like a transcription of like some Joe Henderson solo or something. I'd be like, Steve, I would type them up and give them back to him, like, hey, like here, like this will help you.
Yeah.
And he's like, what? And so he started bragging about like my Sibelius skills or whatever. So like people. I don't name names, but I got a lot of people like kind of hitting me up like, hey, can you do this for me? So I just did it just to like kind of get to know those musicians, but I definitely don't want to be a copyist. But so I did a little bit of that, and then teaching academically is probably the most corporate thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's what, and that's one of the things, and I've said this so many times, but like when I was at Purchase and you were a professor there, like one of the biggest things that you talk about that no one else talks about is the importance of understanding that as a musician, even as a young, like through college and stuff, like you're a business and you are responsible for your own level of success, and you have to understand how to navigate, because being good doesn't matter. It's kind of expected, to be good, at least at a certain level, but that doesn't write your ticket. You know what I mean? And we've seen this how many times in music, the best musicians are never found, or there's some random person that plays locally at a fucking restaurant who's killing, like one of the best people that you've ever heard, and nobody knows who they are, because it's just not really a part of the equation beyond being just like a baseline. You have to at least know how to do X, Y, and Z to make to do the gig. But beyond that, I mean, there's so much else that goes into it. And that's one of the things that, man, it kind of makes me nervous, like about, maybe students now and this hyper prioritization of culture surrounding the music. Like everything's about the music. Everything is like only certain music is the shit. And like, this whole thing of like, you're too worried about being successful. And it's what are you talking about? How do you want to live? Making a living as a musician is hard. That's what I did for years after graduating, trying to play gigs and teach a couple lessons here and there, and barely being able to pay rent. And rent was super cheap where I was living, and it was still a struggle. And it's like, until I was fortunate enough to land upon some opportunity in online stuff and like build kind of what we're doing now. Prior to that, I didn't know what the fuck I was going to do, and you are like the only person who was talking about that, who was talking about how to go get gigs, how to meet musicians, how to put yourself in a position where somebody's likely to look at you and say, hey, I want to work with that guy, and that's so important. And I think that's one of the important, like the best things that will likely happen to the Purchase College Jazz program with you at the helm of it is people learning and to understand, like, hey, yeah, you're here to learn the music, but make no mistake, like you got to learn how to make a living. You got to learn how to do this, because you're not going to get a fucking aerospace engineering degree. You're not going to move to Denver and start working for Lockheed. Like that's not how that works. Like those guys, and I've got lots of friends who do that, who are aerospace engineers and did move to Denver and did do exactly that. And it's like, it's not that it was easy for them, of course, but like their pathway was more clearly laid out in the sense that they can go and they have the qualifications to go get a job in this company. Getting a degree learning music doesn't qualify you for shit.
You gotta have practical skills to be a musician.
Well, it's not just practical skills; it's the understanding of how to use your musical skills and apply business tactic and acumen to that.
Correct.
And that's something that I think gets left out so often. And I think your age had something to do with that as well, because most of the professors at Purchase, at least when I was there, much older than you. And so these are guys who have had a very successful career. They're phenomenal musicians. They're some of the best in the world at what they do. But when they developed their career was a very different time. Totally different time. And I always felt like you were much closer to the understanding because, you know, it was the 2000s for you, you know, and it was like you have a much clearer understanding of what students today need to go through. And the fact that you're not just sitting at Purchase College being the director of the program and just teaching and that's what you do. Like, no, you're fucking out there playing. You're out there working with all these bands, working with Ron Carter, working with, you know, running the Birdland Big Band. Like, you're doing all this shit in real time at the same time as running this program. So it puts you in a unique position to be able to say to kids, like, look, this is the shit you need to get together because it's not just about being good at music. That's so important. Obviously, that's why we're there. That's why we went, is to learn the music and get good at the music. But there's got to be the other side of it. Otherwise, these kids are fucked. Yeah. You know, and like, thankfully you understand that and you're prioritizing that as something that these kids are going to learn, you know, and like it's so necessary.
Especially now, I think, you know, and those older professors are coming up, we're in a world where you joined a band and you got to travel with that band.
Correct.
And now it's like even great bands play 10 gigs a year. You know, and
I don't remember the last time I saw Brian Blade and the Fellowship like advertising a gig right now.
Exactly.
You know, they'll play bigger venues less often. That happens, you know. And so I think it's so important right now to really understand. It's ironic because there are less gigs and yet people are pickier than ever, I feel like. You know, and it's like when there's less, you got to be able to. You want to get as much as you can of that. You know, if there were 1 million bebop gigs, it would make sense to be a bebop specialist. You know, but it's not the case. So I think just accepting Purchase any school really, any music program should be a training school for like becoming a professional musician. And yes, there's an art to it, but that art needs to come after the understanding. You know, having certain skills that allow you to just make a living at it. And then you can kind of refine your career to be only the artistic endeavors you want to do. But you'll have people that graduate from like a great program like Manhattan School of Music and not know how to play on a wedding gig. Like that. Like I've had people graduate and you know, I've met people that can't play Happy Birthday like with harmony.
Right. So nuts.
You know, and it's like you got a music degree and you can't play. You know,
because they can play everything from the Omnibook. You know what I mean? Like, and it's just this hyper specialization that's not going to be all that practical in the world. Amram, get the fucking.
That's good.
You're gonna yank that cord right out of that mic.
I'm gonna be the first one to go to the bathroom, so
don't ruin the cameras. Okay. But it's such a serious thing that I'm glad. Like you said things when we were there, because for reference, this is. I don't even know if we actually really talked about this, but Amram and I graduated together from the Purchase College Jazz Studies program.
Yes, we did.
And we were there when Dave, was obviously a professor there. Before he was the director of the program, which he most recently has become, and that's going to be
I think you were
the
first
program.
Class, because you were with Camacho's class?
Camacho's group.
So that was the first year I took over the arranging class.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah, it was the first
this.
arranging
This
class that you
true.
did, and it was like we wrote big band chart. Like I feel like now in my life I know how to write big band charts.
Yeah.
And it's because of that class, and we actually fucking did it and got to hear them played by a big band. There's nothing cooler.
Yeah, that was
than
fun.
Putting
that was so fun.
Yeah, there's nothing cooler than writing some shit and then hearing it done in real. In fact, that was one of the things. So, so many things coming together. Because last night, Dave and I were hanging out, and he didn't know that Tales existed. The record on Spotify that I did with.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And one of the things with that record is that it's not like it's jazz categorically, I suppose. But
what
like
jazz?
It's I know what is jazz. Yeah. No, but it's like. I wrote out a lot of the things that are on that record. Like a lot of it's very specific in terms of bass lines, drum patterns. Like I didn't want to do a record that was just jazz tunes because I was so sick to death of like head in, solo, trade fours with the drummer, head out. I was so fucking sick of that.
Right.
And I wanted to make something that was much more specific.
Yeah.
That had less improv, honestly.
Yeah.
And there's this weird thing that happened where leaving way less room for improvisation almost felt liberating, because it was like, oh, I know that if I write this particular hit in the drums, I'm going to hear it every time. It's not going to be like a by chance thing that the drummer plays some shit that I think sounds cool there. No, I'm like, fucking play this exact thing because I've constructed it in a way that I want it to sound very like a very specific way. The big band shit was kind of a doorway into that, because it was like, oh, I can specify all this stuff and create this sound and create all those great like hits and lead ups and things that I love about listening to Basie or Duke Ellington. And I can make that happen. And like that was really cool. And that was something that I had never done before. You know, because we would write charts for 4 or 5 horns and it's just a tune. It's like you harmonize the melody, and then after that it's just a solo fest. And it's like, okay, that's a step in that direction, which is kind of cool or whatever, but it's still, I don't know, it's still leaving so much to be just improvisationally determined. And there's a magic to that, and that can be really fun. But it's also a lot of fun to specify.
No, and there's something about like being able to write in consistency, you know? So like I tell everybody, like if you write slashes, you are at the mercy of that player, of playing what, you know, of what you're hearing in your head. And if you aren't comfortable with that, then you need to give them a part. And then if you want them to see the part but have some freedom, maybe you give them a part and a chord symbol, so they know like this is where you're coming from, this is what it's over, and they can then make their musical choices there, so they have some freedom there. But yeah, it's great. Like if you can write in consistency, and I tell them like, you know, it seems like a lot of work. Like I showed them that album, the Jim McNeely, the Lickety Split Vanguard album, right? And they're like, man, we were playing just one song actually, and they're like, man, that must have taken forever to write. And I'm like, okay, let's say it took them 6 months to write that arrangement, right? If you wrote a tune every 6 months when you were a freshman, by the time you graduated, you'd have an album. You'd have a big band album, right? And then the other thing about arranging is that it's forever. So if you write you know, a great shout chorus, it's always going to be great. It's not going to get worse. You know, you're not going to worry like, oh, I hope like the shout chorus goes well. It'll be that every time.
You might write something you thought was great and realize later why it wasn't so great, and then
it's that
you're
every time.
Improving, but the music itself is not changing.
Well, that's the other thing too. Like something bad will stay bad, something good will stay good. So yeah, that's something I try to express about it. And yes, it takes time, but anything worthwhile takes effort and time.
100%.
I mean, that's something that's lost upon many of us in this day and age. And, I mean, including myself, my instant gratification.
I literally canceled. Oh God, part of me feels bad about this because Sweetwater is a company based in Indiana. It's a you know, whatever. Not necessarily their products, but fine. I literally canceled an order to Sweetwater and ordered the same thing on Amazon because it was going to get here a week earlier. You know, I mean, and I had a legitimate reason because we had a deadline on something. We needed a piece of equipment. So whatever, fine. But like, it's that same thing. It's like, ooh, I can get it earlier. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's a very different situation because you got the same result earlier. Right. But you know, most things in life that are worth getting need work. So
go down the double black diamond tech trail. You're probably going to crash.
Right.
Without knowing how to do it.
I'm glad that you had that. Wait, that wasn't the double black that we went down. The tech that we went down the other day. Oh, sorry for anybody who doesn't know what's going on.
We're talking about
downhill mountain biking. Is so when you're on a tech trail, it's like a bunch of roots and rocks and like big things you're bumping over and like
versus a flow trail.
I walked down it because it was terrifying.
You did. But I went over the handlebars. No, I don't crash very often mountain biking, and it was funny because
when I do,
right. That's some
when I do.
Stuff. When I do.
Yeah, no, but it was great because like I was going 0 miles an hour. I wasn't fucking moving, and I just dropped my front wheel off the right thing and caught a rock straight on, and I was like, "Ooh, well, I'm going over the handlebars now."
And that's why you have a full face mask.
Correct. Although I don't think I even hit my face, but that's a good reason to wear a full face helmet.
Man. Yeah, I just want to survive the day. I'm looking forward to it.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Yeah. And it's like that's the beauty of like downhill mountain biking that's different than skiing, because skiing green, blue, black, like that sort of denotes steepness, right? Like a double black diamond is going to be real steep, you know, maybe moguls, maybe natural obstacles, some rocks, some things like that, maybe small cliffs and things. You know, that is way different than how you classify mountain biking trails. Because mountain biking trails, like if you see something that's like a black flow trail, the difference between a green flow trail and a black flow trail is not steepness. It's feature size. So like on a black flow trail, you might get big jumps. But the beauty with mountain biking is that the vast majority of the time, big jumps, you don't have to jump them.
Yeah.
They're not gaps. They're all tabletops.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you can roll them, and it's like that's what's great because you can go down as a beginner, you can go down a black flow trail.
Yeah.
And just like you're just not going to get huge air.
Yeah, that's what I did, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
That's gonna be me tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still I would pop off the jumps. I'm like, wee.
You
But,
start
like,
feeling it out
but
a little bit.
it's not
Yeah.
skiing where you case a jump and you're like, my knees.
Yeah, because skiing is
You know?
all gaps.
Yeah.
all the jumps in
Yeah,
skiing
yeah,
are gaps
yeah,
because
yeah.
it would just take an insane amount of snow to make tables out of
Correct.
everything.
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah.
So yeah, with skiing it's completely different.
Are they labeled flow and tech? Like when
Yes.
you see
Yeah. So yeah,
Well-
it's just so like flow trails have like an orange park marker kind of thing, the same as like
okay,
skiing,
okay.
how they show like a park.
Yep.
And then flow trails have like a jagged because it's telling you, or I'm sorry,
The
tech trails have like a because it's basically telling you, hey, this is a tech trail. It's going to be rocks, roots. It's going to be jagged. It's going to be gnarly.
Got it.
Depending on whether it's green, blue, or black. But
Awesome.
yeah, so you won't get anything steep in mountain biking except for like maybe a double black diamond tech trail might have a couple of steep little sections. But mountain biking, because you're on wheels, you don't really need that much downhill angle to get going real fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you're you're on wheels, so it's you just roll.
And you control your
Fun stuff.
momentum, decide how fast you want to go.
Correct. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, because you have brakes, so
Yeah.
they
And the
become
brakes on
helpful.
skis. Yeah.
But it's
convenient.
funny though. I was trying to like have Dylan like figure this out, but the process of learning a trail, because the trails at a good park are so well designed in such a way that you almost don't need your brakes at all.
Yeah.
Because you'll be going down, and then right before like a hairpin, like a switchback, it'll kind of turn and go up a touch and then go down around the switchback. And so like that little up before the turn almost controls your speed for
Correct.
you.
Yep.
And then you can just rail the berm really hard and go around the other way. As you're starting out, that's too scary to do. So you definitely ride your brakes. But that's how you get your hands, like you said, your hands still hurt.
Literally, it's a week later.
Wow.
Almost. And,
Oh my
and
God.
The side like chunk there of
Nice.
my
Yeah.
hands are just
Yeah.
like for
Damn.
the last like 5 days, like when you try to like just have like a flat hand and like put some soap on your face, my hands would be like this.
Oh,
I was just like, they're broken,
oh
dude.
my God.
But it was it's worth it.
You'll
It
get
won't
used
happen
to
the
that.
next time.
You'll get no, it won't.
No.
You'll get used to that. You'll loosen up a little bit. That happened to me the first few times I went. It's like my hands just hurt so bad. My hands are totally normal now. Like I don't feel anything. But that's just like you learn over time to like loosen up and you just get more confident and everything. But it's hard at first because you want to ride your brakes. You're like,
Correct.
oh
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
you wind up
Yeah.
just like beating the shit out of your hands over the course of one run. To the point where you have to stop mid-run usually.
Well, I
Because-
did like 5 times.
yeah,
every
yeah,
run.
because it just hurts too much to
Okay,
keep hanging
okay.
onto the bars.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But it goes away quick.
Yeah.
It doesn't last very long. But, so I think we should do.
We have fun things.
I think we have a couple fun things to do. I think
Okay.
we should, especially because this crowd, we're all musicians here.
Oh
Mm.
God.
So we should.
Some more than others, but
No, you're a musician.
You
I have
you
experience
belong.
enough.
Yeah, you belong.
You
here.
belong here.
You belong
Aw.
here, Dylan.
You shut your fucking mouth.
You're so sweet. Okay.
Okay, so we have this is one of our favorite segments on the show. This is bad music advice.
Oh, great.
What do we got today?
Oh, I love it. Music theory.
Oh, just in general.
Just in
Oh,
general,
wow.
What is music?
All right.
theory?
All right.
All right.
Here
A
we go.
music theory is an explanation for why or how something happens in music that is backed by data collected over time but is not necessarily true. This lack of concrete truth is the most important point. There are many theories about music, but at the end of the day, no one knows what the hell they're talking about, especially Jacob Collier or those elitists in music schools. Music theory started forming in the 1990s with the popularity of Nirvana and Kurt Cobain, often referred to as the Ella Fitzgerald of the swingin' Northeast.
Oh my God! What? Wow.
Music experts couldn't wrap their heads around the avant-garde depth and complexity of songs like "Smells Like Teen Spirit," and got out their lab coats, beakers, and chemicals when these songs were released, so they could begin formulating theories around how such insane songs were constructed. Unfortunately, no conclusions have been made because Nirvana's music is the most advanced interdimensional music to be ever produced.
Oh my God.
That is okay because other music theories have been concocted from these experiments, such as the concept of chord progressions. Even though chord progressions don't exist, we as a society tolerate this theory so that musicians can feel good about themselves and say random numbers like 1, 6, 2, while their friends are trying to casually listen to their Spotify playlist. Some musical ideas never made it to the theory stage and remain as what are called music hypotheses. For example, the idea that brass instruments are at all pleasing to the ear is a respectable idea, but there is no data to back this up.
Oh my God.
Unfortunately, since the 1990s, music schools have been popping up more and more, acting as a hub for young people to come up with their own dumbass ideas about music. Luckily, school and state boards are doing the right thing by cutting funding for music and the arts in general.
Oh, man.
Here's a theory. A respectable career is more important than expressing yourself.
Oh my God. Oh.
Wow. She got real political real quick.
Oh my God.
Oh shit.
Well,
Wow.
Dave, good luck running that program next
Holy
year.
shit. Dude, that was a good one.
Oh my God, that was beautiful.
Oh my God.
Good,
These need
good
to be
job,
a book.
Jake.
These are
going to be a book for
Oh,
sure.
they're so good.
This is going to be
Jesus.
Jake's first foray as an
Right,
author.
exactly.
Oh,
Yep.
man.
Expressing yourself.
That's great. Wow.
Wow.
Good work.
Dude,
Holy
Dave,
fuck.
how does it feel to just to help, continue on the bullshittery, at school? Just helping kids just fuck
Are you
around.
proud of yourself
are you
for being
fucking proud of
involved in
yourself?
this?
Yeah.
Brainwashing
Lots of
young
holy baloney.
children.
Yeah, right, exactly.
I love that. For example, brass instruments. There's no evidence to suggest they're pleasing to the ear.
Right. You need a
solid
metric data like the Mohs hardness scale to legitimately say yes, this is
Yes,
pleasing,
correct, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, brain scans and responses
Right,
to various
Yes.
sounds.
We need a double deaf study
Right.
Yeah.
to
check that out.
to check that one out.
Right. Double deaf.
I'm glad somebody appreciated that stupidity.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's great. Do we have another one of those, or was that the one? That was the one. Well,
Okay.
that was
Beautiful.
a worthy single one.
That was
Yeah,
a good,
Holy
yeah,
shit.
that was a lengthy
music
one.
thing, yeah.
Man,
That was a long one, yeah.
there have been so many good ones of these. What a stupid fucking idea. Wow.
Yeah.
Let's make
Nice.
music explanations that are fake.
All right.
I love
Jesus.
this. I love this.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, it was so great because so the last time you were on, your faces as you were reading, because I think it was like you didn't necessarily, because I don't think we told you ahead of time what it was going to be, and so you're reading this shit, and your faces as you were reading this were just gold. Oh my God. The clips of that are probably out.
Yeah.
yeah, probably at this point.
And so you find it on our TikTok at Odd Time Show, and or Instagram and or YouTube channel Odd Time Clips.
This show
which-
is just full of plugs right
Full
now.
of plugs.
Just
Yeah, seriously.
everything.
Hey, but
Get
you know
a
what?
course
You know
out
what's
there.
for real though? Like
What?
we plug shit way less than a lot of people
Yeah,
do.
that's very true.
So
Yeah.
I don't feel bad.
Yeah.
No. But
We were
yeah.
just
Yeah.
talking about Nirvana too the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I brought in Nirvana to one of the classes to talk about how you can mark a form without chords.
It's not just chord progression.
Everybody
Yeah.
thinks, it's got to be a different chord to mark a form.
Yeah, like a new
And,
change in the musical structure.
So like Nirvana does that all the time. Like
Right.
they use texture and dynamics and different melody, but the same chords are happening the whole way through.
Mm.
So, but because it's not jazz, people were like, why are you talking about this?
Right.
And I think that is the thing too, because we joked about it earlier. What is jazz? But I mean, jazz is so generic, meaning it's so vague.
Yes.
That
It
it's
can go to
basically
thousands of
basically
directions.
calling something music.
Yeah.
The fact that someone can you mentioned jazz to them, they can think about Benny Goodman, and someone else can think about Kamasi Washington.
Yeah.
And they're both right.
Yeah.
That's a problem right there already.
Yeah, it's like this. The fact that we are trying to fit everything under this umbrella label. That's why, like, to me, I don't know. Now at this point in my life, I don't give a shit about like being considered a jazz musician. It's like my background in education is in jazz and jazz traditions, and that's fine. But like, just equipped me to kind of do whatever else, you know.
Yeah.
And that's I think that what's so special about a jazz degree is that if you really do jazz correctly, you can sneak into any musical situation.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where the other fields are a little more specialized, and that's a problem when you need to diversify outside.
Well,
of school.
and people have figured that out over time. Like Sting figured that out. You know, Sting figured out that he could hire jazz musicians, and they would fucking nail whatever
what it needs to be
style.
done.
You know, working with Branford and and like.
Yeah, most of the backing musicians for great acts are jazz musicians.
Yeah, because they know harmonically what's going on.
Or at least
and
they've
how to
been
do
educated
shit.
in that, in that way for sure. Because it is probably the most versatile musical tool set for sure.
Well, because it's the most intense musical tool set. Like when you're learning it, right? I mean, it's
it depends on your definition of intense. It's certainly the most like because I always talked about it as if jazz is all of the other things that you might learn in every different genre, but applied as a fluency.
Yeah,
because
because
of the fact that it's so improvisational. It's like you can learn classical theory, you know, and understand it and recognize when it's being used. But like you don't necessarily have to just be able to speak it off the top of your head.
Right. You don't actually apply it. The nitty gritty about jazz is that like you have to apply it to your instrument. That's where the facility,
in real time.
Yeah, in real time.
Yeah.
That's where the facility of the improvisational thing happens. Where you're just like, you know, like constantly. Like I tell my kids this. I'm like, okay, so here I am, like playing these wedding things, and like I'm like doing one with me and like a DJ, and like they're just blasting some random track in the background. Like you got to be able to hum what the root tonality
you gotta suss
is.
out what the tonality
like
is.
this is the tonality, and then does it sound major, minor? Then rip your fucking scale and like just whatever, and just start doing your shit. You know.
Yeah. I mean, you're really utilizing all of your brain power while you're doing the thing. But like when I was in a band in high school, like first like learning guitar and stuff, it's like, okay, you learn this System of a Down song or whatever the heck it is you're doing, and it's like it's just one thing.
Right.
You're
learn
learning
that song,
where to put
you
your
play
hands.
the thing. Yeah,
Correct.
you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
You just memorize the muscle memory, and then you're there.
Yeah.
But with jazz, it's a different thing.
Yeah.
Jazz has so many variables, and they're happening on the fly.
Yeah.
So the constants of a song would be like, you know, how many measures is the form, and what's the chord progression. But even then there are variables because the pianist might play, if it's a dominant chord, that could be so many things. Is it straight up just G7? Is it G13? Is it G7 sharp 11?
Yeah.
Is there some alteration? So then you have to analyze that depending on a person that's giving that to you on the fly. And then the bass player can throw in tritones and things like that will kind of mess you up too. And then the drummer can play phrases that don't mark the 4-bar phrasing of the song to give it a little more interest. So then you have to really have a command of like, oh, I can't, you know, I can't rely on this person for where it is. I have to rely on myself. There's so many variables on the fly. I don't think other other styles of music don't do that as much.
Yeah.
If
But
at all, some
the
don't.
thing is that we just got to remember that this is just a theory. This is it's just all fucking bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
It's a hypothesis.
Whatever he's fucking saying is all fucking bullshit.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bullshit.
Nobody knows
Beautiful.
what the fuck they're talking about, especially Amram with this stupid fucking
I've actually
piece
been
of
waiting.
shit song. Okay, so I think we did this.
We've
once
done
before.
once,
Okay.
and I'll give the rules again.
Oh my God.
So okay, so again,
This is so dumb.
I created this to pass the time when driving in a car, so I could get to gigs faster with whoever I'm fucking like sitting in the car with, right? So we would pick a song, a simple song, and we would find the lyrics, and in our cars we would like try to omit the words so that we would try to sing them to each other with the words omitted, and they would just create different stories, right? So I've got 3. I've got either Happy Birthday, like Happy Birthday to You, or Let It Go from Mulan. Or no, Let It Go from Frozen.
From Mulan.
Yeah. Or Let's Get Down to Business from Mulan. And I know Charles knows the Let's Get Down to Business one, so he already knows that.
I think we should do that one.
You want to do that
We
one?
should do Let's Get Down to Business.
Okay,
Yeah.
Okay.
Because everybody knows the song, right? Let's get down to business to defeat. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Huns.
Right.
Yeah.
So I've prepared some shit.
So
right?
it's got to go in time, and then you cut out words.
Exactly.
To tell
exactly.
a different story.
Right. And so
Okay.
we just
This is-
see what it means.
This is the dumbest shit.
This is
ever.
the best
All right.
shit.
So
I fucking
stupid.
love this shit.
Let's do it.
Okay, here we
This
go.
is-
Wait, you need to count off. Ready?
Yeah, hold on.
One.
What was,
No. I'll count it. No, I'll count you in.
No. Wait. So because it's a pickle it.
No. It's on the and of one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1.
Yeah,
Let's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. So let's see. Let's get all situated here. Here we
He's
go.
got to get all
Yeah, yeah.
prepared.
1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get
Don't tap. There you go. That's fine.
the sons I'll make a man
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. It's a Jesus.
I'll make a man.
It's like Anxiety, the game.
I'm a
Guy.
guy.
He knew a man.
He knew a man.
Be a man. Be a man.
Jesus.
That's it.
Oh my
All
God.
right.
That's that one.
This sounds to me like a friendship game.
What do you
Meaning
mean?
that you are really testing your friends to see if they're really
Their
your
patience,
friends.
yeah.
Oh,
To put up with your fucking
yeah,
bullshit.
Yeah, right.
They're gonna sit.
I
and
listen to you
yeah.
in the car, like, hey, let's do this
Hey,
game.
let's
And they're
do
like,
this. Dude,
okay.
No. Yeah.
We
And then you do this, what you just did, and then
Yeah,
they're,
they're
just
like-
still your friend
Right,
after
right.
it.
Dude, we're
Then
gonna
you really found someone.
right.
we're
Yeah.
gonna look at the retention graph and the analytics for this video, and it's
Right.
just gonna be a fucking
Yeah.
like a cliff.
Everyone's
Everybody's gonna be like,
clicking out.
oh,
They're like,
fuck
this
this.
fucking sucks.
What is this?
Yeah,
Silence?
yeah,
Did
yeah.
something break? Are my speakers off?
Yeah,
like,
right,
oh my
right,
God.
right. Oh my
How did
God.
we even allow this to
Jesus.
happen? I don't
Yeah.
know. Never again.
But
Jesus
anyways,
Christ.
so like, so you do that in the car, and like you would it was good because you'd have to take time out to think about what words you're going to miss, so that makes the trip go faster. And then when you're singing it, everyone builds this fucking like anxiety and
You know what would be better though?
anticipation,
Yeah.
Talking to each other.
Well,
No.
maybe anesthesia, going to fucking hypersleep.
Yes,
There you go.
right,
Yes.
Just end up where you're going.
Yeah,
Just-
right.
Just if you're not the driver.
That reminds me, I was at a jam session, and someone from Purchase was at showed up to the session too, and they asked if I can give them a ride home, and I was like, "Where do you live?" And I was heading back to Purchase, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I live near Purchase." I was like, "Great." So we hop in the car, and he starts giving me these directions, but he wouldn't talk to me at all. I'm like, I would try to talk to him, and he wouldn't really like kind of continue the conversations.
Right.
And he starts giving me the directions, and I realize we're getting nowhere near Purchase. And so I eventually drop him off, and I look on my GPS, and I'm like 45 minutes away from Purchase.
What the fuck?
Yeah. And yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But
Wow.
he just stared, staying straight ahead, and the only times he would comment, he would go, "Okay, get off this exit."
What? Wait.
I'm like,
and this was
this was
just somebody that.
that went to Purchase. He was in the program. He was a senior. I was a freshman.
Oh,
you
this
were a
was when
student.
you were a student.
Right.
Yeah, when I was a student.
Oh.
When I was a student. Yeah.
Oh, that's
Right.
weird.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
funky.
He just had to like shut his brain off to allow himself to lie to you for 45
Like
minutes.
for
Yeah.
the guilt or something. Wow.
It was
just
out,
gonna
yeah. That
milk
was
you
probably
for
one of the most
ride.
uncomfortable car rides ever.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
weird.
So it's funny. So speaking about not speaking, so as a kid, I would get like my hair cut, right, and so like I would go to like to places really cheap, like in like Chinatown, Flushing, and like like it's you pay for the haircut, it's only like $6 even with the dollar
Those are
tip.
very different places.
Huh?
Chinatown, Flushing. What?
Well, Flushing.
Yeah.
There's an Asian. Flushing is a very big.
Yeah, sure.
yeah.
But like, it's just
Yeah.
they're not the same place.
But Chinatown's
they're-
typically referred to as like
Yeah.
Lower Manhattan.
Yeah, right. So like,
But there's a
my
Chinese section of Flushing.
correct.
yes.
And so in my head, that's Chinatown. But anyways,
Little Chinatown.
Yeah. Well, actually, that Chinatown's bigger than Chinatown.
Yes, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Flushing.
you're saying there's another
I was
Chinatown
just there,
in Queens?
Yeah.
having the most amazing soup dumplings.
Dude,
Ooh.
that place is the
Yeah,
shit. And
I
so
love it.
as a kid, my family would go like probably bi-weekly to get like authentic Asian groceries.
Sure.
'Cause we weren't going to find anything on Long Island. To which, when they're going, like my mom's buying the groceries, my mom would say like, oh, go with Dad and he'll take you to go get a haircut, right? So like the haircuts are like fucking $6, you know, with the tip. And
Jesus.
yeah, I know.
Wow.
And they would just give you this, just quick, just cut the thing off and it's fine, right?
Like a phase, like a buzz fade.
Yeah,
cut.
just like something like
bowl
short
cut.
on the sides and
Okay.
a little bit on the top.
Okay.
Very simple, right? And so obviously, like I don't speak Chinese, but they're speaking Chinese to each other, and so like I grew up with this aspect of just sitting, and my hair would just get cut, and then I'd hand them the money, and that's it. And I thought that's how things went.
Yeah, totally.
So by the time that when I went to like college, actually, I needed to get my hair cut. And so like I was like, oh, let's go find a barber or something. And then so I go to the barber and this person won't stop talking to me. And I just couldn't figure out why. And I'm like and so but like she would say something and then I would just like reply and then stop. And then
Oh, no.
and then she
Oh,
would do that
no.
again and then she would reply and then I'd stop. And then I'd get the idea that like, oh wait, maybe people converse with their barbers. You know? Yeah.
Maybe
Well,
she
you
wants
said
to
I remember you
talk to
saying the
me.
same
Yeah.
thing about dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Because you would say so he would tell me like his family eats dinner in silence.
Wow.
And and to him he was just like, yeah, I don't know, we're there to eat.
all
What the
business,
fuck?
yeah.
you know?
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
we're
I'm
fucking
like,
eating.
oh my
protein
God,
intake
how the
time.
fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Time for
That's the
sustenance.
most
Yeah.
awkward experience ever is to sit
Right.
and eat and like not be chatting, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
because that introduces so many other things too. Because like if you're just first of all, it's the awkwardness of sitting in silence with other human beings, which is awkward to begin with. But then it's also like then you have to fucking listen to everybody eat.
I would hate
So you have to
that.
like listen to
I would-
fucking
I would-
mouth sounds
I
and
would
shit.
die inside.
Oh my God! Which that was another thing that you never thought
Oh,
about
yeah,
because
yeah,
like that
right.
was just a thing.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, yeah.
finally, like Amram moved out here, and we had to be like, Amram, shut the fuck up! As he's like chewing, and he's just like making the worst, most horrible
Yeah,
mouth sounds ever.
yeah.
It's like, dude, and he's like, oh, do I do that?
Dude, there are a bunch of things I feel like I'm just like not conscious of that I just like feel like just due to like the upbringing of being like first generation American, you're just like, oh yeah, this is what it is. Like again, like okay, I think I've told the story before, but like, you know, my mom would she'd cook us food and like she'd make us like spaghetti and meatballs, but like she'd say it with like a Cambodian accent, and so that like I knew that to be the word for spaghetti.
Sure.
So that when I got to school and like you know school lunch was on the menu, I was like, could I get some like spaghetti? And like I genuinely thought that's what, and then my friends were like, what the fuck? Like are you
What are you saying?
crazy? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like yeah, and then
That's
I learned
hilarious.
it was spaghetti. And,
Stop
you know.
rocking away from the mic.
Oh yeah. Well,
Spaghetti.
well, anyways, yes.
Yeah,
Spaghetti.
that's hilarious.
Spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Spaghetti.
Yeah.
Wait, it almost sounds like it could be Italian. Though.
It
You know
could
what
be.
I mean? Like
It could be.
spaghetti.
Yeah.
You have the hands with it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
spaghetti. Oh man,
Yeah,
that's
they
it.
do that.
Oh, and it's funny too because Leanne kept pointing out. She was like, "Aaron, what the fuck do you think this is?" Because Leanne is Italian,
Yep.
and and he's just like, "So, what kinds of pasta? How do you make pasta from scratch? Like,
Yeah.
what's every kind of pasta?"
Yeah.
And Leanne's like, "Fucking, I don't know.
Yeah,
like, what do you think? Just because I'm Italian, I know how to make fucking pasta."
right. Yeah.
That's a whole thing.
Yeah, it's a whole, yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways, I think it's about time we probably wrap this up because Amram's got to get out of here anyways, and
Yeah.
we've been at it for a while. But this has been a lot of fun. It's been
Yeah.
Yeah, very
great.
good.
This is great.
Thanks for being here, Dave. Thanks
Yeah,
for
thank you.
My pleasure.
another time, anytime.
Glad to be back.
Yeah, you're gonna be our first repeat guest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Breaking
Yes.
all these records.
Breaking-
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Making history,
Good
but
achievements.
making history here, making history at Purchase College, where you're now the director of jazz studies
Boom.
at
Wow.
Purchase College, and everybody who wants to get a phenomenal education in music and not pay out the ass for it,
Yeah.
it's a great option.
Sincerely.
It is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because it's a state school, you know, so
State
it's like a
school,
state
yeah.
school pricing. Even out of state is cheaper than
Yeah.
somebody who's gonna.
I got a 50% scholarship to go to Manhattan School of Music, and it was cheaper for me to go to purchase full price out of state.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly.
Yes.
So you know, and of course, all higher education is fucking insane in
Yeah.
terms of pricing. So there's no getting around that.
Right.
But it's like you can either spend 70-something thousand a year to go to MSM or you know one of the big
It's crazy.
city
Yeah.
city
Crazy,
schools
yeah.
or whatever, or you can pay state pricing and get honestly kind of the same education because so many of the faculty that works
Teach
at like
at other
Juilliard
places,
and Manhattan School of Music, they also teach at Purchase.
Yep.
So it's like you're getting a lot of the same things and you get a lot of the same experiences. Like we got to play at the Blue Note, we got to play at Dizzy's
great
Club, we got to
experiences.
play at Lincoln Center, we got to play at Birdland. Like so many great experiences, and it's a phenomenal program. And I'm very happy that Dave has now taken it over and is going to absolutely blow that program up. So if you are at all interested in going to music school, hit up Dave and check out Purchase College because Amron and I and Dave, we're all glad that we went
just great.
We turned out okay.
Oh,
Turned out okay. Anyways, thanks for
pretty
listening,
swell.
everybody. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. And find our social channels, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, all that bullshit, at Odd Time Show. And we
Cheers.
will see you in the next episode. Cheers, boys.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.